Hey, this is Tracy Lewis with Stuff and Things, and it is paper pumpkin time. And there's my paper pumpkin being transported on the bike. It is a beautiful day. It's like 77 degrees, but in the shade it stayed cool all day. And when the breeze, like it's pretty breezy right now, there's our flag flapping in the wind. So there's a little bit of cold, and we're used to in Florida, the wind is warm. So it is just an absolute perfect day. So I'm going to head inside now and get settled down and get to work on this month's paper pumpkin. All right, I am home. I am going to get this part of paper pumpkin done, which is the unboxing, so that I can start working on alternatives. So our spot for this kit is shaded spruce. Again, this kit is called All the Little Things. This is a white box kit for next month, which is going to feature the new in colors. So stay tuned for that on May 2nd. This particular box comes with some chipboard pieces to turn the box into storage. So I will play around with what kind of storage I would maybe like. We have the traditional light blue tissue. I do know a little bit about this kit. I only know that I think it looks like stained glass pieces. So let's put this aside so that we can take a look at the stamp set. Every month I get asked to share what the stamp set has on it. It has, with deepest sympathy, enjoy your day. I am grateful for all the little things you do and celebrate today. Here is a sprig, a flower, and a nice dotted random stamp. We have, my box did get a little squished. This very rarely happens, so there we have it. But aside from that, I might not use this box for the storage option because I have many boxes to choose from. But I will play with that, and probably toward the end, after the mix and matching, I will probably take another box that's clean and set up how I would like to use it for storage, and I will share that with you all. Now that I've committed to that, I just hope I remember. All right, so we have some AB adhesive backed rhinestones, very large as well as small, double-sided, or dimensionals, I should say. Interesting. We have envelopes that are decorated on the outside and not the inside. So that means you have one pattern across the top that you do have the sharp V that you could work around to get a square cut or a rectangular or a long skinny cut, as well as the whole back side. And all of the envelopes are the same. And it looks like we make 9. I see some Calypso coral and black twine. I see 3 with the leaves. These are actually pop-out die cuts. So they're like a full card front die cut. I will not take up your time, but just to show you sort of what it looks like, something like that. And these cards are, oh, they're tent. That's my favorite kind, is a vertical. And this is the first time, if you recall having any tent shaped cards. To me, this is the first one I have a recollection of seeing. There are different designs of cards I see, because here are 3 horizontal in a light peach, which I will get the color names off of the instructions before I go off to do some design work. So we have 3 of this light peach, probably pale papaya, but we'll see what color that is. And then 3 shaded spruce. We have some fun stitched die cuts, round in that light color, and then Calypso Coral. And you can't see it, maybe you can. There are little faint stitchings of a light color on this shape. Or perhaps this shows up better. A very large rectangle, as well as rounded edge. Stitched rectangle, kind of medium size, pretty good sized. And then here is the third and final card base, which is white. Okay. Then all of these have a wonderful foiling on them. Oh yeah, that shows nice for you. So I see 3, which means right off the bat, I see where I could trim out these 3 floral elements to stretch out the cards even further, and potentially, depending on how much I really felt I wanted to stretch these, I'm looking at this branch, and I could trim it nicely right here and get double the branch dies and get 6. And then end up with nice 9 flowers instead of 3. I also see light blue, so this probably goes with the white base. Oh, and then I have this last little strip of 3 little floral elements, bottom corner, and then a few double-sided adhesive dots. Again, on the very back are the instructions, and I wanted to give you color names. Balmy Blue, Basic Black, Calypso Coral, Granny Apple Green, oh, Petal Pink. Yeah, I thought it looked too light, and I think Pale Papaya is retired. So this is Petal Pink right here. I, of course, will not be creating per the instructions. I will definitely be digging right into the alternatives. So I will come back during the supplies prep if there's anything interesting and fun to share, as well as added supplies that I want to share. And then we'll move right along into some mixing and matching of backgrounds with focal layers. And as always, there will be a showcase at the very end of at least 20 alternatives. So far, since I've committed to the 20, I have not found any problems with maintaining at least 20 alternatives, and some of the kits are so vast you could just mix and match so many different ways that after 20 I just kind of stop, because they are just so, at that point they kind of get repetitive. So I am hoping that I will be able to continue on with my 20 and not bore you guys with too much repetitiveness, but yet give you enough creative ideas to spark your own creations. And I will go away now and come back soon. All right, I am back. I have prepared materials. I've added some materials, and I am actually ready for the mix and match. So this will be an all-in-one longer segment to finish it off. And then, of course, I've got photography, which I already took. So I want to talk about the materials as they were provided, and then we will spin off from there. So we have these three lovely elements. I left this single flower alone, did not do any customizing. I have customized the bloom as well as the triple flower element. I will show you first what I did with the branch. I cut it in two. I left the white. Here's where they were connected, and I just rounded the edges. I used the snips. And so I will give some examples using this piece and then this lovely piece. So that gives us, we have 3 of each of the designs, so that gives you as many as 6. I didn't feel that I needed to make this any smaller because we do have provided a whole smattering of these individual flower elements. So the next one I spent a little more time with, and that is with the flowers that I separated into pieces. I spent a little more time, and the tool that I used is the Stampin' Up marker. The colored markers you have to buy in color families, but you can buy the black as an individual, and I have a few of them. The side that I like to use for this is the brush nib. I very carefully with the snips cut out the pieces. I even cut out a couple of extra with this particular one. I'm trying to figure out how it lays out. It lays out this way. I cut out this hologram, and this hologram actually ends up getting cut out. It just wasn't fitting, so you can see here it's not up on this small bud, and it's not a part of the large one. I decided with this particular one to go the extra mile and show you guys how nice these stained glass looking bits look when you get rid of the white. So here it is with the white, and there they all are without the white, and having very carefully applied along all of the edges using the side of the brush nib. I went around every little bit. I also then used just a tiny bit of this end to blacken. Right here I had to cut out, and I can see that my black is a little bit wider. So I did have to cut, and then this side here was all had to be colored in very, very carefully. And I used, I put it down on a piece of white paper so that, I'm just going to grab this. So I allowed myself the ability to go off onto this white that was a piece of scrap. So there's some little marks. So make sure that if you're going to go ahead and edge where you've cut, use a piece of scrap paper that you don't care about or need for any other purpose. And in the end, I have converted, we have 3 of these 3-up flowers. This would give you 9 flowers to play with. From there, I then took the full page sheet of branches. You could do a couple of different things here. I saw the opportunity to do 1, 2, 3, 4 and cut very carefully along the edges of these 4 branches as an option, but I went with 2. So here's how I did the 2. I have this vertical piece, which actually is the top piece, and I converted it to a nice vertical branch, leaving a couple of extra leaves. And then this piece can be on the bottom, but to me it doesn't look right, even though it is the bottom piece. When I cut it in half, it really becomes a top piece to me. So there's a side piece and a top piece. But you could take this down to as many as 4 branches if you wanted. All right, next I liked this just very unique little floral element, and so I brought out Poppy Parade ink because I wanted it. I could have done it tone on tone with a Calypso Coral. Look how close those are. I can tell you that this is old enough it's faded. I probably need to redo it. So I put Poppy Parade on, and I made the centers of each flower match the center of the flower that I stamped, just as an extra interesting element. And in my photography, I do have this used a couple of ways. We will see if I can reuse that again in some nice fashion. The envelope itself, I had mentioned you actually could use pieces of these 3, but I did not. I used the flap, which has dots. And I cut 2 vertical pieces out of this back panel. So here are the little bits that you get out of the flap. I ended up actually able to make like an extra corner. I haven't actually done anything with these 2 corners, but I have used these 2 pieces. And then with the 2 back pieces, I left one plain, and then I also did some stamping with this lovely, wonderful, if I can find it, because I did just use it and I cleaned it. Here it is. This stamp, which to me, I don't know, it looks like a frog to me. There's his eyes and there's his mouth and his legs. I don't know. Maybe you don't see a frog. I see a frog. So those are the cuts for the envelope. Added materials. I added inks. I picked the colors, not all of the colors from the list, but these are the ones that I have used today. And then I added cardstock, Foamy Blue, Poppy Parade, Shaded Spruce, and black cardstock. And then I did grab 2 embossing folders. A brand new one. This is a sneak peek. So this is a new embossing folder that's in the annual catalog that I just received. It has all of the lovely little floral elements and leaves. And so I've got some sample photography. And then because I haven't used it a lot, you can really use any embossing folders, whatever strikes your fancy. But to be different, because I do have my favorites, I picked the Into the Clouds, which I have used. I think I've used it a couple of kits ago. And then this flower one. But you could use way more embossing, and you could emboss on like this strip. You could emboss on this envelope piece. We have some washes. These could all be embossed, though I did not. And I'm looking, there's a peach one. Here's the peach. All right, here is just for, oh, and then the scripty, distressed scripty, where is that? Time Worn Type is what it's called. So that's what this one is. And then I cut off for the washes on these 2. That's a tent card. This is a side fold card. And then you get 3 of these. And I have not done anything fancy for these. So on that note, that pretty much sums up the supplies. I did take the two trims that we got, which were just twine. And I have a couple of bows floating around, a couple of, horizontal, go across the card and over to the back. Don't forget we have the AB rhinestones that we were provided. So I've got lots of photography with those. They're on everyone. And then this funny, weird, it's got little stitching in it, but just very faintly. You can't really see it very clearly. As well as labels, 3 different styles. And on that note, that pretty much sums up my additional materials. Here's the 3 added colors, not including the black, and the 3 different embossing folders. All of the extra supplies that I added will be on the supplies list. Okay, so now let's get into the fun. Mixing and matching. First, I did quite a bit of stamping and wanted to share with you my simple stamping. First, we have a white card times 3, so we have 6 different card fronts potential to use. I was curious how the white would stamp. It does a very nice crisp stamp. I did 2 of them using the ink color provided, but this is with my spot that is very old and very well worn, and this is what it looks like. I have now taken to keeping my spots sealed up because I have so many repeats, so I have been saving those someday to sell because I have no need for them. And I like this, but now I'm going to introduce the basic white. Is a little bit creamier than the very grayish white. That's pretty typical. And here is the start of a card where I did cute stamping in Calypso Coral. And I will take this piece and we'll make it, I didn't stamp anything on the back of this one, and I will do a couple of build-ups on this. And then of course I had to show you what all of the colors, minus the black, using the image stamps without any text, and it came out very, very nice. You could do a sideways card with this. So I think I'm going to start with this particular bit, and now I get to try to remember all of the fun cards that I made, and I'm not sure if I will actually remember all of them, so I'm gonna just start putting some fun together here. These you can pop up if you want. They can merge, just intermix with the busyness that this already has. And then you can put, I'm not going to put any rhinestones on this because I have a card off to the side, but it's just a wonderful busy design. And then you can pop a sentiment with one of the label shapes. So here's one possibility. Here's making it vertical. And then I want to show you when you add these fun extra little doodads. And this is a very busy card, but it just gets busier and it kind of all turns into a nice, busy, cute mess. You can use the enjoy your day, which probably needs a little something something. So you could add this flower element, still keeping to the ultra busy look. There's some structure that you can add. You can pop that up. I really just like how this background turned out, and there's so many ways that you can utilize it. I'm going to now get this guy, which, as I said, I left the twine sitting on it for some mix and matching. Here's its bow. Here's this little guy. Oh, and I wanted to show this one that has the stamped flowers. This one already has been popped up with dimensionals. And I've got this beautiful card over here to show you when we get to that part. But I really like using the rhinestones. And so this is absolutely a favorite when I get to making these. So from my 20 or so designs that I will have in the showcase, I usually take the materials and make 6 to 10 cards that I then put in my stash for my perks customers, people who sign up with me and do the paper pumpkins every month. Have a rotating rewards program where I send a card every 3rd and 9th month. It could be a thank you. It is meant to be a card for you to use, and so I put a post-it note inside it. It doesn't necessarily mean it's going to be a thank you card, but it is as a thank you gift. And then every 6th and 12th month, you get a sampling of these cards that I finish. So I am always making cards, and I'm always sending cards. So it's a lot of fun. And if you're interested in that, I do have a link to that on the end of this, and then in the end of the video, as well as in the description. All right, so I have this really fun background that I want to just do a couple of build-ups to show you how easy this is to use all these pieces. And I'm going to sneak a full-size behind so you have a nice border for it. I mean, even that's fine with 3 rhinestones. We have a bow. You can make a double bow, but see, and this is already one that I did not take a picture of. So that's how this works. Every time I mix and match, they're always different. There is 2 ways you can use the flag cards. You can put them facing down, or I flipped it so that I could have this in the bottom. So you could put them either the top or the bottom. If you use it at the top, you can put a cute bow, and then this is where you can add a very lovely shortened branch, because what I found when I was using the full height branch, this branch is so big it pretty much uses up the whole card. So that's where the only way I could get it to fit is if I did the bottom up and angled it more like a branch, or used the smaller Enjoy Your Day. So these big elements, if you haven't opened the kit and looked at it yet, they are quite large. So I would have no problem with just breaking all of the pieces down into smaller chunks. So I have this lovely all blue layout that is really nice. We've got the clouds. Then we have this blue. You could distress the edges, you could sponge the edges, anything that you want to do to dress up this paper, you can easily do. So here is a lovely blue on blue. Now we can start introducing some little pops of color. Still keeping it pretty simple. You could add your own twine. Now that we've got some black introduced, you could use a black bow. And then you have rhinestones. It's so funny how every time I do this, they come out different. In my photography with these little florets, I always put the rhinestones in the center. Just want to show you how cute that looks. Now my extra special card that I have off to the side laid out is mostly, I've taken all the pieces away from it, so I'll get to rebuild it for you. So I really liked this one. So this one is definitely in the showcase. And then if you want to start adding the bigger elements, you've got this extra interest of the layer underneath and an enjoy your day. You can have the black. I would even do the enjoy your day in black. I think that looks really crisp. You could put the bow either here or you could put it over here as part of the branch. And of course, don't forget your rhinestones. So, loved working with the blue a lot. I think that's probably my favorite, is the blue. Now, before I steer too far away from the blue, I want to show you that you've got these larger pieces. You have this little cut-off piece, and I haven't done anything to that piece. You could either cover it with something if you wanted to take the little floral elements. So I was hiding any of the rough edges, and then there's a little cleanup you could do here. But this is just so sweet. Pop up the enjoy your day. I pretty much had to make this enjoy your day for this leafy bit, because even though it was on the bottom when it was a whole piece, as a half piece, I really wanted it to be on the top. So now I want to get into the full branch piece. And then here is what this looks like if you wanted it just in a corner before I take the blue away. You can start using some bigger pieces like so and make it fantastical. But I want to show when you take the whole piece and you lay it over the top. I probably would not do this because I like to extend my materials, but it makes a fabulous fancy card. You can just use 2 pieces. You could decide to use 2 big flowers. You can even take the 3-piece with the white. Though I'm definitely partial to the white trimmed off flowers. You can make it that fancy if you really wanted to. And pop up and enjoy your day. Boom, fancy card done. So now I want to switch out from the blue, which we have made lots of examples of. You could even, don't forget, from the front of the envelope, here's another option. And this foil actually comes across as blue when it's on the blue. It kind of picks up the colors of whatever your background is. So now I'm ready to let the blue go. Here is the new embossing folder. And it looks lovely as a background with some of the blue popping. And then I really, really like it. This is Poppy Parade cardstock. And there's a nice layout. And you could these are extra hard to pick up. And how about a cute little bow on the branch, or even just at the corner. So, as with most kits these days, I have not struggled too much with trying to make the materials work. I mean, I've had my challenges. There was the bread kit that had the big loaf of French bread, and that, I will say, that was a challenge. All right, so now I want to bring in this one with the black that I left mostly together, but since have taken most of the pieces off. And popped up the little flowers and the enjoy your day. So I really liked this one. This is one of the last photographs that I took, and that's why it was sitting all together for you to see. It has a really, really nice, crisp look to it. And then you can even do some additional fun. Add some lines. So as you can see, this kit just can go on and on. I haven't even showed you, this was another simple stamping. There is 3 pieces of cardstock that in the sample, I did peek at the create instructions, and this is supposed to have the dots put on it, but as you can see, I turned it into a fancy that is with using Poppy Parade. So let's put this back on. So you can see where you end up with a nice, you can put it either on a horizontal or a vertical card. This would be, I would take some white twine and color it. Some fun ways to decorate using this extra little bar. I haven't even shown you ways to use the little orange circles, so I'm gonna take this. Before I go, I want to show you, trying to make sure I use all of our pieces. And so this could be the top of the Celebrate Today. Pop everything up, and then have, I guess this was a good idea right here. I like this gun. I haven't actually, like I said, I haven't looked at the creates too closely, so I'm not really sure where they used that. But there you go. I think that was the last piece that we hadn't seen on a layout yet. Ah, the other fun thing. Check this out. Don't forget that you can use the white side of these as well. Maybe that's too big and we instead just replace it with a lovely flower. So don't forget the fronts and the backs of everything. Even the petal pink, you've got the white side as well. If you don't like the petal pink isn't my favorite, so I would definitely be looking at reversing that. I think that that pretty much sums it up. I like the kit. I like how I can take those big elements and cut them into a bunch of small elements and stretch them to make, if you got 9 cards and you cut all of the fronts and the backs off, that gives you fronts for 18 to put on your own white bases. And you have all these different washes. I hadn't even got to the washes, but pretty much any of these. If I were to use this wash and take exactly, I haven't trimmed it down, so it's going to be full size. It will look something like this. There you go. And the same with the petal pink. And you've got a balmy blue wash that looks very similar to when you cut the envelopes apart. So that is it for me. Oh my gosh, a bird just landed on my sill. It's just like right here hopping along. How cute. Huh. So if you have any questions, comments, or concerns about this kit, leave them here on this video or over on my blog. Be sure to like, share, and subscribe. And thanks for watching.